New promises and new threats from North Korea. In his New Year's speech, leader Kim Jong Un says he's willing to sit down with President Trump at any time, but Kim also warned that his country could take a new path if the U.S. pushes ahead with sanctions.
If the U.S. does not keep the promise it made in front of the world and misinterprets our people's patience and makes one-sided demands and continues down the path of sanctions and pressure on our republic, then we have no choice but to defend our country's sovereignty and supreme interest and find a new way to settle peace on our peninsula.
Joining me now to discuss this is CNN national security analyst Samantha Vinograd. She served on the National Security Council under President Obama. So, Sam, we just heard from Kim Jong Un. At the same time, President Trump, in his New Year's message, touted his relationship with North Korea as being a big success and that he's in no rush to figure things out over there. I mean, it seems to be a disconnect between these two leaders, at least in the public face that they're presenting to their people.
Well, Ryan, the more things change, the more they stay the same. It may be a new year, but North Korea, and frankly President Trump, isn't taking a new approach. Kim Jong Un is threatening the United States and putting the blame on us and saying that we should lift sanctions, which is one of his favorite things to do, while concurrently continuing to build his nuclear program. Arguably, from an analytic perspective, the threat from North Korea has actually increased over the last 12 months, despite the summit in Singapore, rather than decrease, as President Trump would like to say.
What do you make of the way that Kim Jong Un presented himself in this speech? It seems different. He's in a library, he's wearing a suit as opposed to a military uniform. Does that represent a shift for Kim in terms of how he presents himself to the world?
Well, he was also surrounded by pictures of his family, right. And we have to remember that this isn't just a message towards President Trump. This is a message domestically as well. And from a domestic perspective, Kim Jong Un has actually done a really good job over the last year. Let's just think about it. He has continued to stockpile fissile material and the stuff that's used to make nuclear weapons. Secretary of State Pompeo said that himself. Right. He is marching ahead with the crown jewel of his nuclear program while continuing to be embraced on a world stage and inching even closer toward integration with South Korea and other world economies. The last thing that he needs to do is convince the United States to lift sanctions so that he can get the economic benefit of this warm embrace from the global community. And that's probably going to be his New Year's resolution. Yeah.